been quite a while. We're a few months away from a year since she first went missing.
Yeah, when it was first reported to us back in August, yes.
Okay. Take me through what has kind of unfolded since that August date when your office received a phone call.
So, initially we received a phone call for check welfare because she didn't show up for work, Mamta. Our officers did respond, and, there's been release of body cam video where he stated that she was gone, she left, that they're in the middle of a divorce, they're separating, they're selling the house, and gave some other excuses. Throughout that, more leads developed that stuff that wasn't adding up with what was going on, which our investigators figured out, and we subpoenaed records and stuff like that because we still were not able to locate her. And he did eventually report her missing, but things were just not adding up for the investigators. So when they were able to get some of these records back, we were noticing a pattern there. And I don't want to go into details of what it is because we have the trial coming up, but that led into us getting a search warrant for the house, executing it, and then disclosing some of the evidence that was located in there that eventually he was charged that day, and in December he was indicted on the murder charge.
When you look back to that initial body camera footage, obviously at that point, this is just, I'm sure you get calls like this pretty frequently just to go check on someone's well-being. When you look at that body camera footage, what sticks out for you?
Well, because we know kind of by the time we got the body cam, we saw the body cam footage, but by the time we found out some more information, we started seeing the red flags. At the time, we didn't know some of this information, so it's hard to say, hey, we would have picked that up. So initially, I think the officers did, what they were supposed to do when they checked on the welfare. He gave it an excuse of where she was at, but obviously we know more about it now. So when we look at this video, we also see some red flags there that we should have maybe picked up on, or, we could have picked up on. I want to say we should have.
So kind of branching off of that, when you hear, I'm sure you've seen there's so many videos out there of people analyzing this body camera footage, people talking about the red flags they see. What would you say to those people? Because at that point, you didn't know as much as people watching it now know.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. The people are, they know what we know at the time, so they're looking at this videos, having the same questions we are. Hey, why wasn't this picked up on? But we didn't have that information when that initial call went out.
At what point did it go from being, hey, he's just the husband of a person that's been reported missing, to, hey, we think he might have done something to his wife?
When some of the inconsistent statements that we were getting, when he was out here at the police department, some of the media releases that he was doing some live interviews, things were just not adding up based on he was telling the investigators.
Okay, I know a lot has happened. You guys conducted your own searches, the community conducted searches. Talk to me about the impact those searches had.
I feel, they were time consuming, obviously. It takes a lot of people. We got some assistance from neighboring jurisdictions with their search and rescue teams to help us search some of the bigger areas, but our investigators and staff were searching areas as they came along and the leads came in.
How many searches have you done up to this point?
Approximately 50 physical searches.
And when you say physical searches, kind of talk to me about what that means. What are the spots that you're searching?
So that's us physically going to a location, either a park, a store, a gas station, near the residence, behind the residence. Some of our parks here, some parks in Fairfax County, stuff like that. Those are physical searches, like the stores that he visited and stuff like that.
How did you figure out where you were going to physically search?
A lot of the stuff that we figured out was through some of the phone data that we received.
I know he also has a Tesla. Was that helpful to you all as well?
That was helpful, but it took a long time to get that information back, which delayed our response.
Okay. Did any of the searches amount to anything? Were you able to find anything through any of those searches? Oh,
yes. That's what led us to look at some of these areas. So they were very helpful.
Can you elaborate on what you may have found? Any sort of evidence?
I don't want to say something that's incorrect because I don't have the information in front of me, but it was very helpful. To be able to search these areas and pinpoint them down, it was very helpful.
At what point did it become clear to your department that you were comfortable going and pursuing charges of concealing a dead body?
When we went into the house and the forensic unit of Prince William County told us what they located in the crime scene.
I know you were there that day.
Yes.
Did you see what they saw, or was it all DNA?
I actually did not see it, but I did go in there, but I didn't see what they saw when they initially went in there.
I know that you guys are a smaller police department. This is a very small town kind of atmosphere. When you were there that day, at what point did you realize the magnitude of what was kind of unfolding?
I didn't know we would get national attention the way we did. Obviously, it was a crime scene. We could tell that somebody lost their life in there. And that was, hard for our community, We don't have that many murders here in Manassas Park, so having one that we were like involved in, it was surreal. It really made us think about it,
He was being held on this concealing a dead body charge. He was supposed to have a court hearing. And then all of a sudden you guys announced a murder charge. Talk to me about the transition from being like, oh, he concealed a dead body. We don't know if he did something, but now we believe he did something to her.
Yeah, so that's what we developed between that time till we went to the grand jury, because the Commonwealth Attorney's Office presented to the grand jury and got an indictment. So between that time, we were securing all the evidence, getting additional search warrants, subpoenas, and court orders, and kind of narrowing down the timelines and stuff like that to help the prosecution.
Was there anything specific? I believe you previously mentioned that there was some DNA evidence that came back. Was that kind of what?
Yeah, the courts did release a DNA evidence match for Mamta based on what they obtained at their residence. So, I mean, as far as exactly what it is, I don't have that in front of me. So
how important, though, is that DNA evidence and the evidence you found inside the home to being able to move forward with this case?
Oh, extremely important, because it shows that, that what their crime scene tech saw there is justified by what the DNA came out with.
Have you spoken to Manassas Bhatt directly?
I have not.
Okay. What has the conversation been between him and your department? I know there's that body camera footage of the initial conversation. What conversations have you all had since then? Well,
in the beginning, there, he was very cooperative. He would come in and talk to the investigators. But after that search warrant, he lawyered. He requested a lawyer, so we didn't discuss any more stuff on the case with him.
Okay, so I know that the charges were announced in December. He had his hearings, his arraignment and everything. What has been happening since that date, since he was officially charged with murder?
Just working with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office, getting all the evidence they need for the prosecution. I know there's been hearings, status hearings that have been throughout these few months. So just getting ready for the case and following up on any new leads that we get, coming in, and also have them reviewing all the evidence and stuff, making sure we didn't miss anything and following up on certain, court orders and subpoenas.
Since you were able to charge him with murder, what does that mean for the search for Mamta?
I mean, we continue to search for her. We want to find her. We want to find her. Even something back to the family. That's been our, the whole thing we're concentrating on, but we're also getting ready for the trial.
Do you believe there is a place where you find her alive at this point?
I don't believe so.
To have that as the thought, how hard is that for you, for your officers?
Oh, it's extremely hard because, we got to know, their daughter and, the family that are here in the United States now. And when you go talk to them and knowing that, we still have not located her, it's hard. It's not an easy task when you start talking to them, especially during the holidays when we went and visited them.
And I know her little girl just turned 1 and
yes.
Right around the time she went missing. Talk to me about the searches you guys have conducted since that charge of murder. I know you mentioned you've still been searching for her. Can you talk to me about where you're searching, what kind of searches you're doing?
So physical searches, I don't have the timeline. I don't believe we've done any physical searches since December. Prior to that, we were still doing them because we're still following our leads. We were getting tips in that she might be here at this location, that location. I know we did several around the residence after, the initial charge. So, but in terms of physical searches after December, I don't believe we've done any, but I'd have to double check with my investigators on that.
Gotcha, but you're not done searching?
No, we are not. If something comes in or a new lead comes in, or if the Commonwealth says, hey, have you guys thought about this, we would go look into it.
I know her home was a crime scene, as you said at one point. Is it still considered a crime scene? What is the status of her home?
I believe that her home's been released back to, I guess it's there. I'm not sure what they're doing with the house at this point.
But it's no longer a crime
No,
scene?
we had no legal right to hold it beyond what we did on the search warrants.
Do you know when it was released?
I would have to go back and check.
No worries. Can you talk to me about, I know the court documents talk about the home just being a horrifying scene, and you kind of mentioned that. Can you talk to me about what you believe unfolded inside that home? That
I'd be speculating at this point because I wasn't there when the crime scene techs were there. I was just told that they believed that something bad happened in there to Mamta, and that was a result of her death in there. What is your message to the community? I know they continue to look for closure in this case. They want answers. They want justice for her. What is your message to the community? That, we're still searching for her. We are still trying to figure out what happened. We want to know what led up to this, what led up to that night where this occurred. And, that we did not know about domestic violence, and some people might have known or had an inclination that something was going on. And, reporting, you know, anybody that's going through domestic violence, you know, whether it's verbal or physical, report it. You know, let us get involved and see what's going on and get them the help they need. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, that would have helped this situation where we're at now, but it would have been nice to know when we went there the first time.
So just so I'm clear, when you guys did that initial welfare check, you were unaware of any allegations of domestic violence?
Yeah, we were not aware of any domestic violence.
Were any reported to your office at any point?
No, the only thing we had was that welfare check and a disorderly call on at that residence over a phone.
And that was, what, a year ago now?
I don't have the time for it, but I believe it was within a year or so.
It was in the spring, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When you look back at that call and you compare it to how things have kind of transpired, is there anything about that call that you now notice as being something that...
Not the original call in the spring. There's nothing that really ties into what we noticed back in August.
But this family, they were not on your radar?
They were not.
Okay. Can you talk to me about what is kind of happening behind the scenes as we move towards the trial date, what people can expect to see? I know at one point we were seeing those massive searches at the different parks and places around the area. What can people expect to see in regard to search efforts for Mamta?
Well, I don't know if they're going to physically see it, but we're continuing to investigate. We're going to continue to follow up. There's going to be more hearings, I believe, you know, more status hearings up to the day of the trial, you know, to go over some of the stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure if people are actually going to see that impact or see that stuff going on.
But what do you want them to understand?
That, you know, it's September. I understand it's a ways out. I can't control that part of it, but we're getting ready for the trial. You know, that we feel we have a good case, we have the right person, and we're going to move forward.
Do you believe there is anyone else that was involved in her disappearance?
Throughout this investigation, we have not located one other individual but him that was involved.
And you're confident?
So, you know, but I'm confident in my investigators, and they're telling me that what they're telling me is that there's no other suspects related to this.
What does that mean for this little girl?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it's sad. I mean, both parents, you know, gone. So it's sad.
Anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to talk about? Are you able to go into detail about any of the searches? Are there any searches that stand out for you as being more helpful than others, the physical searches?
Just some of the stores he visited where, you know, where some of the things that were disclosed in court that he purchased, you know, some of the cleaning stuff, the gloves, you know, the knives and stuff. It's an eye-opener to see somebody, you know, go around so casually to these places.
Did you watch the surveillance footage where he's dumping?
I did watch some of the surveillance videos, yes, and some of the ones that were presented in court, yes.
When you see those videos, what goes through your mind?
Oh, man, how can somebody do that? How can somebody do that to their mother, other kid?